Any war has not only its exploits and heroes, but also has a downside: war crimes. It is no secret that always, in any country of the world, there are those who either desert from the army or evade the draft by any means possible. The Second World War was no exception. The Soviet Union, as many other countries, had its both draft evaders and deserters. According to wartime laws, those caught were either shot in front of other soldiers or were sent to long prison terms or to special punishment battalions, which were considered an alternative for prison sentences. One of the most famous deserters in the history of World War II in the Soviet Union is Max Gursky, who was called Tarzan or Tiger Robinson. According to various sources, he either evaded the draft in the army or deserted in 1943. Hiding, the man got to his relatives who lived in the village of Krishenskoye, Yubinsk district, Novosibirsk region. The deserter kept in touch with them, but he himself lived in the boundless taiga. Realizing that he could be discovered and the retribution would be inevitable, Gursky built a whole network of dugouts and wooden houses on an area of several tens of square kilometers. In addition, he prepared many hiding places in which food supplies were hidden. The deserter did not stay long in each of his dugouts or houses, constantly moving through the taiga. The man from birth had an enormous strength, so even in the case of an encounter with a dangerous predator, such as bear, he came out the winner. Gursky provided himself with food in the simplest way, picking berries, mushrooms, nuts, hunting animals as well as collecting eggs in bird nests. Moreover, in secluded places he cleared patches of land which he plowed, setting small vegetable gardens and growing potatoes. A journalist who studied the history of Gursky wrote, "He built several secret huts in the taiga and made dugouts. He caught fish, hunted birds and animals, harvested mushrooms, berries, and nuts for the future. Tarzan, armed only with a knife, was always able to take over the master of the taiga, the bear." The most interesting thing is that in all the time Gursky fell ill only once. This was facilitated both by good health from birth and of course by living in a completely untouched and clean environment. A very fortunate find for Gursky was the airplane, the Air Cobra fighter, which was supplied to the Soviet Union under the Lend-Lease program during the war. Moreover, on board of the aircraft he found a fully working machine gun and a box of ammunition. Gursky adapted the weapon for hunting, and from that moment he himself became the master of the taiga, capable of killing any predator or large animal. The plane, so that it would not be accidentally discovered from the air, was carefully disguised by the deserter. The second very important find was a dynamo electric generator, which allowed Gursky to light up his dwellings. Despite the fear of being exposed, Gursky occasionally had to go out to people, to villages where he exchanged animal skins, nuts, etc. for the things he needed. In terms of nutrition, Gursky did not need anything and was fully provided. Warm clothes as rule he sewed himself from the skins of killed animals. It might seem rather strange to the casual observer that the local residents did not report this mysterious guest to law enforcement agencies. Perhaps the reason was the innate reticence of Siberians, who try not to interfere in other people's affairs, and even more so in their life. The only thing the taiga could not give a man was a woman's affection. A strong and healthy body demanded its instincts, but Gursky was well aware that any attack on the woman would instantly lead to an investigation followed by exposure, capture, and execution. But once, the Tiger Robinson was lucky. In the taiga he met a girl who was picking mushrooms. It was a chance. The man forcibly took her to his place. Later the girl said that they walked for several days and only at night. The deserter was clearly afraid of being chased and being discovered. He kept wandering around so the girl could not figure out where they were going and how to get back. That's how Gursky got a cohabitant. Further versions diverge. According to one, the girl, being pregnant, managed to escape. According to another version, the man himself let her go home, realizing that it was simply impossible to give birth in the taiga without special training and medicine. Considering that it is quite difficult for a woman to survive alone in the taiga, especially if she is pregnant, the second version looks more likely. Most likely, Gursky not only showed the girl the way, but also escorted her to the nearest village. In fact, this is what led to the exposure of the disorder. The return to the village of the missing girls caused a real shock. Most of all, of course, the police were shocked. In fact, the criminal case, which was initiated immediately after the girl's disappearance, was reported by the police as successfully closed, since one of the young local residents was shortly convicted and sent to prison. But when the missing victim returned herself, the case against the innocent convicted was dismissed, and he was released. After the girl told what really happened, the police sent a special team to search for the strange kidnapper. The girl led law enforcement officers to a taiga area near the village of Lisi Norki, Fox Minks. There, Max Gursky, who did not expect any visitors, was detained. According to the recollections of local residents, when he was brought to the village, he struck everyone with his appearance. A man of enormous height, long hair, and an equally long beard, clothes made entirely of animal skins. The real Robinson. The further fate of Max Gursky is not known for certain. Some claim that the former deserter was convicted, and after his release he returned to the village. Others, on the contrary, said that Gursky was not prosecuted at all because the statute of limitation for desertion had expired, and there was nothing to prosecute him for. And, which is also important, Gursky was caught in 1953, that is 8 years after the end of the war, and already perhaps after the death of Stalin. Therefore, in the atmosphere of confusion and change of power that prevailed in the country at that time, law enforcement officers most likely were not going to solve this rather complicated case with the taiga Robinson. By the way, another reason why Gursky could not be held accountable was that he did not desert, but evaded the draft. The fact is that after a soldier has taken the oath, its violation even in peacetime is punishable by law. Most likely, Max Gursky evaded the draft without taking the oath. So there was simply no reason to arrest a civilian for leaving the taiga. And, which is also quite surprising, the girl who was a cohabitant of the taiga Robinson may not have filed any complaints. Therefore, Max Gursky escaped prosecution both on the fact of evading conscription for active military service and on the fact of kidnapping. After the former deserter was forcibly taken to the people in one of the villages, they even offered Gursky to take the post of hunter's foreman. He was respected by the locals for his strength, endurance, amazing diligence, taciturnity, and ability to navigate the taiga without any difficulties. However, the former hermit could not stay with people for a long time. After a bit, he again went to the taiga, although he lived there no longer hiding from people. By the way, the girl from the taiga Robinson gave birth to a son. It is not known whether Gursky took her and the child back to the taiga or not. There is no information about the most famous deserter of the Soviet Union. It is also not known where he died or where he is buried. Perhaps the Soviet Robinson forever remains somewhere in the vast taiga expanses.